line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. Upstairs goes the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, LaCueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third.
JJ Bach.
Continues to give, doesn't it? The NBA playoffs have been good. You got some more great moments last night. You tell me what's best. Was it Devin Booker? 47 points, 8 rebounds, 10 rebounds, 10 assists in the Suns' elimination win of the Clippers last night, 136-130. Or was it Ice Trae with that onions 3 from deep between the logo and the arc to keep the Hawks alive in Boston and stave off elimination? Or was it the Nuggets toughing it out at home and holding off the pesky Wolves? We got ball to talk about and a draft tomorrow, and your head basketball coach will be in as well. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, thanks for being with us this morning. What's good?
Oh, what it do?
Hey, Marie, how you living?
Great.
Day before the draft. Here we are, right?
Yes.
All right. Best moment last night. Best performance. Devin Booker, 47. As the Suns had a 20-point lead and watched the Clippers, sans their 2 best players, without their 2 best players, come all the way back and have a chance at the end to extend the series? Or was it Ice Trae? Trae Young had 38 and 13 assists, and they drop a play at the end, and I'm going, what are they doing? You got to go. And he just splashes one from yesterday.
It's Trae Young. Not even close.
Right? I agree.
Not even close.
I got to ask questions, though, right?
I know, because what Trae Young has done with his back against the wall the last couple weeks has been really impressive. Because Trae Young, yeah, he wants to be Ice Trae, but he's icy hot. He's hot and he's cold. He's going to have a lot more variance than some of the other stars in the league because his game's going to look good at times and it's going to look bad because he still took 33 shots to get to 38 points. But with no DeJounte Murray on the road in a game that Boston was up by double digits in the second half trying to close out the series, he scores the final 14 points of the game, including the game-winning basket. This dude performs when he is doubted the most. And that's what I really appreciate about Trae Young, because going into the playoffs, there were the stories. Is it time to move on if you're the Atlanta Hawks? Can you count on Trae Young as a core to your franchise when you're trying to win a playoff series. And in the biggest moment so far this season, his team down, back against the wall, the dude responds. And I absolutely love that for him, understanding the variance of the performance that you're going to get. But he said, what now? Because he just loves being on the road in the postseason.
Something else, isn't it? And I think the DeJounte Murray thing was such a big piece of it. It was almost like the Celtics expected a scrimmage, and I think many of us did too, right? A, the Celtics are better. B, the Hawks are without one of their two best players, and C, it was in Boston, and this was going to be a closeout game. I don't think anybody packed any bags and was headed back to Georgia. But in fact, both planes are headed back to the Peach State because Trae Young was terrific, especially late. What do you think when that play was drawn up, right? Quinn Snyder, their head coach, calls a timeout. They drop a play. Hawks are down one. There's 7 point something left, right? 6.7, 7.1. And they lob it in the backcourt. You knew it was going to Trae Young, but they lob it in the backcourt. Okay, you got to get it in. And then there was no urgency. He's kind of walking up. I'm like, you got to go, man. You got to go. And then he pulls up between the logo and the arc and splashes a deep Trae Young three. It's like, damn. Like, and there was still 1.8 seconds left. And I didn't think the Celtics were I just didn't get a feel that way. But that was a special moment now. I mean, that was like that Madison Square Garden moment he had a few years ago when they knocked the Knicks out.
Yeah, and that's he's one of the few guys that taking that shot, you're like, okay, we're going to draw this one up. A ridiculously deep 3-point shot from Trae Young. And like I said, the numbers, they're not always great. When you look at 33 shots to get 38 points, but in the clutch,
when does it
he
happen?
was huge.
Yeah, when does
final 14 points, hitting that shot. And that's the thing that you just can't pull yourself away from Trae Young.
Yep.
And if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you're like, that's why let's give Quinn Snyder a full year with these guys in that backcourt and see what he can do.
Yeah, I think that's right. And we had this conversation: is he a superstar or is he a star? And there's nothing wrong with just being a star, right? There's very few guys who I think are in that superstar category. And the comparison is always to Stephen Curry because he's an incredible shooter. He's not Steph Curry. He's not as accomplished as Steph Curry, and he's not as good as Steph Curry. He's not as consistent as Steph Curry. He's not as complete as Steph Curry. But he's Trae Young. And there's something there. Now, will he ever be worth that? And the Hawks at some point are going to have to make a decision because he's going to want to get paid like that, right? And they probably will because they'll get a franchise type of a deal. But he's not that guy. And he's not surrounded by what Stephen Curry's been surrounded by. But Curry's different. Curry plays a little bit of defense. Curry gets to the basket. I think Curry distributes a little bit better. I think Curry's maybe a little bit better ball handler. But to say he's not Steph Curry doesn't mean he's not good because Steph Curry is the best we've ever seen do what he does.
I think Trae Young is the perfect number two in the situation where, and I think this is the classic. If they had, one of the top.
They tried it with DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, and I think that backcourt can still work.
Yep.
But, they're a team that I think about, like, Trae Young in Philadelphia.
Well,
like, you've swapped him and Harden.
Okay,
because you have Embiid, just an unbelievable post presence. It's going to clean things up defensively. Like that type of.
I'll tell you a number of places
duo.
he works,
Yeah.
right? He would work with Milwaukee with Giannis,
Oh, yeah.
right? He would work. I mean, dare I say this? I mean, in LA with LeBron, what have they needed? They've needed a shooter, right? He works well
You have
there.
the size to clean
Right.
other things up.
Right. I mean, that's where he works. And then there were the Suns, and they were up by 20 in the third quarter. And the Clippers come storming back, and they had multiple chances to win that thing at the end. And look, can I tell you a couple things about what they did? The onions on the Clippers, and they're the Clippers, and so they don't advance because, well, they just never do. But to do what they did without Kawhi Leonard and without Paul George, and to come back in the way they did, and you're going to look at Russell Westbrook and say it was 3 for 18, and you're going to be right. And he had 8 assists, 8 rebounds. Russell Westbrook was a key to what they did. Now, Norman Powell was terrific. Plumlee, I thought, was good coming off the bench. Batum was good last night for them. But for them, I don't know how many people can name the majority of Clippers outside of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. What Ty Lue did with that roster and what those guys did to push the team that a lot of people think is the favorite in the West, the way they pushed them without their superstars is something. That roster is pretty good if you get those two superstars in. The problem is the if, and they just weren't there. I don't know if this says more about the Suns moving forward or about the Clippers moving forward, right? Because it's going to be the Suns and the Nuggets now, correct?
That's correct.
And if we're on track, it'll be the Lakers and either the Kings or the Warriors, assuming the Lakers get through Memphis. Does that series, this last night, say more about the Suns? Are you more worried about the Suns moving forward, or it's like, wow, the Clippers are really nice, even though they don't have their two best guys?
I think for Phoenix is an element of what we're talking about with Boston. Like you're just kind of expecting to coast, and you had a 50-point third quarter. You're up
20
points in the second half, and it's not like, oh, the game got down to 10-8 and then you won by 12. It's like Clippers had multiple opportunities to actually tie or take the lead in the fourth quarter, and those are the really frustrating ones to watch, especially if you're Phoenix, you're trying to close out that series. Because for the Clippers, Steve Ballmer is not going to want to give up on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Well,
those were the stars that he bought into.
He's got at least another year.
He absolutely could put him on trade block, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Are people going to give him what he wants for that? Are other people going to pay that price? Like I mean, honestly, with the you're probably
yes,
okay.
But what you have to look at is say, can this rotation be as good as it was when those guys are healthy? Because Norman Powell, Russell Westbrook, they're playing different when the stars are on the floor. And I think that's going to be the biggest question, because if Russell Westbrook comes back, only can sign for like $6 million on the mid-level exception next year.
That's right.
For the Clippers. But he is the perfect guy right now, because they're still going to load manage Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And the one thing you get with Russell Westbrook is the dude is there every single night playing really hard basketball. And that's what the Clippers need.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see what he wants to do, because I think the Clippers would love to have him back. And at $6 million, it's no money. But he just made 48.6 this year and 48 the year before. And so what's it about? He's been in places where he doesn't fit but makes a lot of money. And I think he was miserable, right? I mean, he was across the hall with the Lakers, and I think he was miserable. So where does he want to go? I think we're going to watch that. And then the Nuggets hold off the Wolves. Nikola Jokic had 28, 17, and 12. Jamal Murray had 35. And a good win for them last night to finalize that. I mean, they were really close to having to go back to Minnesota, and this thing gets interesting.
Yeah, that was a game the Nuggets had to win.
Yes.
They had to win it because it was getting dicey. Anthony Edwards was taking over this series, and you were seeing kind of the best version of the Timberwolves the last two games, where Karl Anthony Towns showed up, Rudy Gobert showed up, causing problems with their size inside. The Nuggets were struggling to defend the paint, especially with Anthony Edwards getting downhill. And tip of the cap to the Timberwolves. You know, same things we're saying about the Clippers, but the T-Wolves, they should be a problem for anyone with that roster, because Anthony Edwards, he's legit.
And he had a look at the end to send us to overtime. Now, I don't know what they'd have done in overtime without both bigs, right? Towns and Gobert had both fouled out, so I think the Nuggets would have taken over and imposed their will in overtime. But, man, they had a look.
Yeah. But if you're the Nuggets, you're just like, thank goodness. Like, we just get out of that series, because you're setting yourself up for an absolute shootout with the Phoenix Suns. But if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're another team. You're like, all right, we have a legit number one in Anthony Edwards. I think they got some renewed confidence in the Twin Towers inside, and that's a team that just says, all right, we have players that don't punch walls or have rotation guys. Like, they could be one of these teams in the Western Conference that you're sitting there going, wait, they're a 4 seed? They're a 3 seed next year? Very easily.
Yeah. All right, so much to do. We're not done with the NBA. We'll go through the NBA. I want your thoughts on NBA. It was entertaining. And look, the NBA could clear the stage for the NFL, right? I mean, here we are. We're a bunch of elimination games. The NFL draft is coming on Thursday. What Aaron Rodgers had to say, CJ Stroud's test scores came out. So we're going to get you covered with all that. Richard Pitino's going to be with us coming up 8:30 this morning. The Lobo coach will be with us. We're going to talk to him about the guys that you've heard about, the guys who are in. What about Mustafa Amzil, Nelly Jr. Joseph, Jamaro Baker? And we'll ask him, was he surprised with the result with Josiah Alec and how that went down? So that's going to be at 8:30. Glad you're with us this morning. 505-246-0610. Come on in. the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Wrestling fans, feel the podcast.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future and get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about. We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Well, I'm going to the frontier He'll walk to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Guys go in the portal, and I know anytime a guy leaves, I know we've been through this a million times. You worry about it. What does it mean? Oh, no, why are they leaving? Spring practice ended in Colorado. What, 24 guys so far in the portal from Deion Sanders' team?
Yeah.
So
Getting,
now,
a little dicey now.
In what regard?
What's going on in Colorado? Players saying that they're not able to get their film from CU to use.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
kind of a common practice. Let me get my film, my recruiting stuff. Yeah, it's weird how people respond. Yeah, well, Deion's cleaning house, and they weren't good anyway. And look, people aren't wrong. They're 1-11. So guys leaving. Lobos were 2-10. And with college football's transfer window for football, it just opened. What day is today? 26. It opened on the 15th. It closes in 4 days. I believe 5 Lobo football players have entered the portal. Chad Alexander's a redshirt senior running back. He played a little bit last year. Zacchaeus Williams, an offensive lineman. Donald Dixon, an offensive lineman. Alan Morrell, a wide receiver, and Myron Carter, a running back, have all put their names in the portal. So it frees up scholarships, right? And Danny Gonzalez had a press conference back on whenever it was, earlier this month. And at that point, they had 1 free scholarship. Now, they had 7 incoming signees, and he plans to sign more via the portal. And so you knew there was going to be movement. And I don't know where, we'll see what people say. Morrell and Carter and Alexander, I think it's just attrition, right? You got guys coming in. Sometimes you get recruited over. You go through spring. You realize, man, that guy might have beat me out. I'm not playing much. Whatever. That's what the portal's about. Sometimes you have conversations with the coaches, and the coaches will be real with you and saying, hey, that guy's going to be playing instead of you. I mean, whatever it is. They've got more transfers in. They had another receiver in the other day. They had another lineman in the other day. So I guess when I see stuff like this, I know Lobo fans go, oh, more defections. What's going on? I don't know. Does anybody on that list say, oh my goodness, the program's going to die because they're not there anymore?
No. Well, I think it's a little frustrating from fans hearing this all the time is anyone ever going to want to be a backup?
Well,
are you going to have...
No, that's reality.
Because what we always say, oh, he's told he's not going to play. Oh, he's told this guy's going to get more snaps. Well, who's backing that person up then?
Look.
But in this case, it does look like, the Lobos want to add more offensive linemen, and they're in need of clearing out a few scholarships.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. And, if guys, let's be clear, they were a 2-10 football team last year. It's not unlike the conversation we had yesterday about Colorado. You got a bunch of guys coming back. Yeah, but are they any good? Right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know up and down that UNM football roster. I can't claim that. And I'm not at practice nearly as much as other guys in the media are. But what I do know is what the result was. And I do know that the charge is to win football games. And to win football games, you probably got to bring in some better players, right?
Yeah.
We had issues with playmaker, offensive line, right? Is that kind of what – and quarterback. Feels like they went out and got 4 quarterbacks at least, right? 2 freshmen, 2 transfers. It feels like they're getting all kinds of receivers. They got supposedly an insanely good JUCO receiver. They got one from TCU. And it looks like they're getting linemen. I see the emails, I see the texts, and I see your response to this. And all I'm going to tell you is what I tell you all the time when it comes to these sorts of things. It's today's college athletics. And the hope is you're getting better with these guys leaving and who you're bringing in. And it's not always just the player is disgruntled. I know that's always the outward-facing impression, right? That's always the initial thought. Oh, the player's disgruntled, he's leaving. It's not always that. It's very often, and JJ, I don't know what the percentage is. That'd be a good question for Richard today. Without going into specifics, what do you think the percentage is when guys go into the portal, kind of that it was suggested to them or probably told to them by the coach, as opposed to them just saying, yeah, I'm not happy here?
It's probably a higher percentage than people would expect.
I promise that. Yeah.
It's like, hey, we want to bring in not just a guy at your position, but other players. And
or we brought in guys. Yeah, or we brought in. We don't got room for you anymore. Right? I mean, we've heard plenty of times these are one-year deals. They're not 4-year contracts. They're not 4-year scholarships anymore.
I think that's the benefit of the transfer portal for students, though, is they have the more opportunities if it's not working out at a program to go to another one.
That's the theory, yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I think theoretically that's right. I came in here. They recruited over me. I can go somewhere and play immediately as opposed to sit out a year. Now, I'll give you the stat again. 30% of transfers are transferring down, meaning down a level, and 20 are not finding a place to play. 20%.
And that's going to be the tough one if you are in a situation where you don't want to leave, but they're telling you to. And there's going to be situations like that, and that's the harsh reality.
I mean, without sugarcoat, I mean, to be as blunt as you can be, sometimes a guy's not going to be good enough. Right?
Transfer portal or not.
Well, but there might not be room for you anywhere else, right? You might go into the portal and it's like, dude,
didn't work out.
You're not.
Well, it's not that it didn't work out. You were essentially cut.
Yeah, you were cut.
And that's the hard thing. And that's what those stories are happening too. And that's part of the reality
daily.
of this situation of, yeah, there's opportunities. It's a free market for a student, but then there could be guys that are like, yeah, you know what, I'm willing to be a backup. And they're like, well, we don't think you're going to have to be a backup, so see ya. Like, oh, okay.
Well, this is a tough one because you bring up really, and that's another great point to talk to Richard about. With who wants to be a backup? And the answer is nobody wants to be a backup, right? Who is willing to be a role player? I'm going to guess Mustafa Amzil and Nelly Jr. Joseph and Jamal Baker are coming in here, figuring that they're going to be a big part, right? And I promise you, House and Mashburn and Dent know that they're going to be a big part, right? And I'm going to guess True Washington and Toppin and everybody else thinks somebody's going to have to be a role player. Somebody's going to have to be the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy coming off the bench, right? Somebody's not getting playing time because that rotation can only go so deep. We're developing him for next year, getting him some minutes. I mean, we didn't get into Webb and Applehans yet, right?
Yeah.
You got 13 scholarships, 15, 16 guys on the bench. I think the point is you ask a question that is so absolutely right and getting tougher and tougher to answer because everybody wants to play now. And that's got to be a really hard part of the transfer portal. You got to be careful what you're saying and promising, right, for guys who are coming over.
Because it's going to get out there.
No doubt. No doubt. Phones are ringing at 505-246-0610. We're going to get to them as soon as we get back. Aaron Rodgers said goodbye to Green Bay. What does it mean? What'd you think? We'll get that to you next.
It is going to be 85 degrees on Sunday. That is perfect weather for brunch. I know I'm going to go into brunch, and I think you should go too. My favorite brunch spot is at 377 Brewery. I've been telling you about 377 Brewery on a daily basis, and they have a new brunch from Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're located on the northwest corner of Yale and Gibson. My favorite part is their beautiful brewery space, their patio. You can sit out there, enjoy the sun. They have a scratch, almost 100% scratch kitchen. On their brunch menu, they have huevos rancheros, pancakes, breakfast burritos, chicken fried steak, all your breakfast favorites. But my favorite is their biscuits and gravy because they have this amazing homemade green chili sausage gravy. You got to try it. And on top of that, they have a build-your-own Bloody Mary mimosa bar. It's just the perfect place to bring your family. You can bring your pets. I mean, it's the best place for brunch. So go check them out, 377 Brewery on the northwest corner of Yale and Gibson, or check them out at 377brewery.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area.
We're not going back to that. I mean, we're just not going back to it.
That was only there because people were bitter. There was no benefit. It was just, oh, you want to leave us? Well, we ain't going to a school we're going to play.
Yeah, we're not going back to that. And so you used to have a clearance. You have to be released to play in kind. And it used to be, nope, we'll release you to transfer, but you can't transfer within conference, and you got to sit out a year. So it's the way it is. All right, we're going to phones here in just a second, but I want to get to this. Aaron Rodgers put out on Instagram his goodbye. He thanked everyone in the equipment room and the PR staff, and I mean everybody he could remember except for, I don't know, a couple of players. And he ended up by saying, "This is not the end for us. I'll see you again, Green Bay. You'll always have my heart." At the top, he says, "I'm not sure it's possible to fully express the gratitude I have to the Packers, our incredible fans, the state of Wisconsin, the thousands of players I cross paths with, the incredible men and women who work for the organization, and the amazing people who I got to meet along the way in one post with 10 pictures. But I hope you feel this and feel my heart and soul filled with love, joy, peace about my time in green and gold." And then he went on and thanked everybody. What do you think of his penned post?
I'm just imagining Aaron Rodgers sitting there, like writing this out. This is not the end for us. we will cross paths again. And right now, sports fans, Packer fans, they're done with Aaron Rodgers. The only people that are excited are the New York Jets fans.
And boy, are they beyond stupid excited, by the way.
Because they got hope.
Yes.
They got some hope.
They do every year.
Compete for 2 years. They haven't hope like this for a long time. And with Aaron Rodgers, this one, give it a couple years, he'll go back to Green Bay. He'll be a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
People realize that even with the playoff frustration, the misses, should have had more in the postseason. One of the best to ever do it for them at the quarterback position. Let's give it some time.
Yeah.
They'll be good. And then they will have that reunion, and he'll come onto that field. It feels a lot cleaner than Brett Favre on the way out.
And Brett Favre ended up just fine, too. What did you think of it? Did you think it was, sincere?
It was sincere. And what I do is I go to the comment section after I read stuff like that. And most Green Bay fans seem to really appreciative, and you're my childhood hero for 18 years.
Yep.
And yeah, so nothing's shocking to me.
It gives you the pulse of what the fan base is feeling, I think, a little bit. Yeah, I think most people buy
it. I'm connected to a lot of Green Bay fans, and they're just happy. They just enjoyed the ride while they had it.
I think that's the mature, healthy look to it.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
All right, we had him for X number, what was it, 18 years or whatever the hell it was, right? And they've had an unbelievable 3-decade run of quarterbacks, right? They've had 2 generational quarterbacks. It doesn't happen that way. And now they get Jordan Love, and let's see what happens there. But I think they realize how good they've had it. All right, let's go. 505-246-0610. Edward, you're on the Sports Animal. Good morning, Edward. I'm going to do it again. Hello, sir.
Oh, good morning. Hey, I'm excited to be on the show, and thank you for letting me share a few thoughts. I have a few thoughts, so I'm going to go rapid fire real quick. First and foremost, I listen intently to all your guests with no judgment, and I heard Bruin James yesterday reference the book, The Art of War, and I am so impressed. My high school basketball coach back in the late 80s had me read that book, and the premise is the goal is to avoid conflict, and that's how you win. But it talks about strategy, and one of my favorite ones is the first to the battlefield is usually victorious. So I would recommend that to all your listeners. And once they navigate through that, then maybe pick up the book, The 4 Agreements, which is a game changer. So nice job, Bruin James. I'm impressed. Secondly, you talked about the Packers and the 30-year run. This illustrates how exceedingly difficult it is to win in the NFL on a consistent basis. In the 30-year run, their quarterbacks had 7 MVP seasons. 7. That's damn near 25%, right? With my new math.
Yeah.
And they made 3 Super Bowls, and they won 2 of them. And I think Rodgers and Favre are 2 of the top 6 quarterbacks all time. Throw in the GOAT, and then a little bit of separation, and then there's Montana, and of course Elway, and Manning, and Favre, and Rodgers, and Marino. I mean, there's your top 6 or 7, and they had 2 of them, and they won 2 Super Bowls, which they've had sustained success, but it is hard to win in the NFL with any level of regularity. Trae Young last night, that jumper, that's a bigger shot than Jason Tatum has made in his career, quite honestly. And I know Tatum went to the finals and stunk it up last year. And Tatum's a good player, not a superstar, but a good player. But that shot right there is a bigger shot than Tatum's ever made in his career. And credit to Trae Young. He's made 3 or 4 of them in his career so far. So that was impressive. The NFL draft, I'm really looking forward to it. And I know it's held in Kansas City this year. You know, they're going to unveil a statue tomorrow night before the draft, and it's going to be really the emphasis of their Super Bowl win last year. And it's going to be an official releasing a flag, on a critical play in the critical moment of the game, a referee releasing the flag. They're going to unleash that statue tomorrow in the city of Kansas City. So, and then my last point is the load management. I know people hate LeBron. They think he invented it. Load management was, who started all this? It was Greg Popovich during the great Spurs run. He would give players rest and wouldn't play anybody over I think it was 25 or 28 minutes a game. Yeah. And he rotated people through. That's the inception of load management. So if you want to blame somebody and throw vitriol, Go to a great
there's
all-time
a way
coach.
there's a way of starting it in the way it's evolved, right? You can blame him for starting it, but it's evolved to, instead of limiting guys' minutes in games, then just giving guys nights off completely and weeks off. And so, yeah, you can blame him for starting it, but it certainly has evolved. Wouldn't you admit that?
Yeah, absolutely. You get a great point. Yeah. So I appreciate you letting me share my thoughts. You know that some of it's levity, but it's entertainment. And I'm not always trying to be completely accurate, but I just want to be somewhat entertaining for you guys. So have a great day.
Good day, sir. Trae Young, whatever you think of Trae Young, and put him wherever you want, he's drama. He hit some big shots, and boy, last night was terrific. Well, I mean, last night was onions, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
is that what they drew up?
Had some of his biggest moments when he's needed them the most. Back against the wall, everyone questioning him. You can't do this. No way you can do it. And he gets it done. And that's what impresses me.
Trae Young hit a shot from between the logo and the arc to win the game last night. And is that what Quinn Snyder drew up? I mean, do you think that's it? Get him the ball and have him shoot a 40-footer? I mean, okay, it worked. Brilliant. What's up, Speech? Missed you. How you living? You're on the Sports Animal.
Hey, how are you doing, Jeff?
Good. What's happening?
Hey, I got a question on the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Now, the Vikings are interested in this quarterback Hooker from Tennessee.
Yep, Hendon Hooker.
Now, I always thought you had 5 years to finish 4 years in college with a red shirt. Now, this guy Hooker has been in college for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, is there a medical
COVID. Everybody got an extra year for COVID. Everybody who was on a roster, on a team during COVID has the option to have that extra year.
Really?
Yep. Everybody. Okay. I mean, we're almost through. I think we got 2 more years to get through it. But yeah, that's why you saw the kid from Detroit Mercy, basketball guy that almost broke Pete Maravich's record, had the extra year. We're going to see records fall. But yeah, everybody, the COVID year basically was erased because people lost that year, and it wasn't just seniors, but it was everybody who was on a roster has the option to have an extra year. So that's where that's all coming from. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, Speech. See ya. I was just having this conversation the other day with someone, and it's like the COVID year. It's messing with sports information people, with everybody. I think we're 2 years away from being done with that now.
Yeah, so 2020.
Yeah,
you're on a roster in 2020. You got an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah,
which I was fine with because it
at the time.
When you look at those years,
you lost it.
In tournaments were canceled. Postseason wasn't played.
Yeah. No, you lost the year, and so they gave it back. I mean, look, you know, New Mexico State didn't play.
So
some schools
many
played 5 games.
Have benefited from 5th, 6th-year players coming back.
No doubt. All right, 505-246-0610. Keep them coming. If you want to get in, we're talking about the NBA last night, where we had some sensational performances. Devin Booker went for 47 in the Suns' elimination of the Clippers. Trae Young was spectacular at the end to keep his team alive, and the Nuggets finish off the Timberwolves. Aaron Rodgers, goodbye. And when we come back, there's a quarterback at the top of the draft that may be slipping because of test scores, or is that just a bunch of pre-draft garbage? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Staples.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman.
Draft is it already tomorrow? I mean, how did it get here so quickly? It feels like we barely even talked.
Your franchise is going to win the Super Bowl. Going to have the best draft ever.
All right, is it okay that I'm kind of over Jet fan already? No, honestly.
Jets.
They're kind of, and they probably are the same as Nick fan, right? They are the same. Like the Knicks get to the playoffs. Amory, was it 2 years ago, JJ, when they finally got to the playoffs and when Trae Young bounced them in the first round? And it was like all of a sudden, all the talking heads on television was like basketball was back again because the Knicks were back in the playoffs. Like, how could basketball have possibly existed for the last, I don't know, 2.5 decades without the Knicks getting the playoffs? And I was so over them by like game 2. I was so glad that they got bounced by the Hawks in the first round. You kind of base your, I don't know.
Fans will do that.
Don't you base your impressions of the team on fans in some regard?
Does happen,
right? And I'm kind of there with the Jets. Like I'm kind of over them already. I'm over. They're and my other employer, and as you all, well, I don't hide this. I work for ESPN running New Mexico Bowl, and they've got a very prominent host who's on many shows, who's a big Jets fan. And it was just like giddy time yesterday, just going through Jets history. I was like, all right, man, I get fanboy. You know, every once in a while we all turn into fanboy, I imagine. But all they won was the trade, right? And I don't even know if they won the trade. They haven't won anything. And I still think they're the second or maybe third best team in their division. Like all this, they're legitimate Super Bowl contender. They're nice. But I don't know how you're convincing me right now. And let's get through the draft and the rest of free agency, but how they're better than the Chiefs or the Bengals or the Bills or, I mean, everybody tells me how great the Chargers are. The Dolphins are nice. Like what am I missing here? There's hope.
There's hope. The Jets are right in that mix behind Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I think they're nipping at the heels of Josh Allen and the Bills. I do. And it's a coin flip between them and the Dolphins because when Tua was on the field, he was playing at an MVP level. And that offense isn't going to fall off the face of the earth. But what you're banking on, if you're the Jets, you're looking at your division. And I think New York can sit there this morning and say their defense is better than anyone else. And if a quarterback.
Is it better than anyone else or is it good?
It's better than anyone else in that division.
Okay.
And with Aaron Rodgers, you figure offensively, we should be able to compete in every game.
Tony, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, Tony.
Good morning, gentlemen.
What's happening?
Come on, Jeff, man. You got to cut Jets fans a little bit of slack.
Why? Because it's been since 1969.
What have they done
in the last?
Have they been relevant in
years?
the last 20 years?
50.
No.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. They got a little hope, and they're gonna, get their claws in that little bit of hope as much as they can. Look at their history. A quarterback that wore pantyhose. Come on.
And he's their best one, man.
Then they got the butt fumble guy.
Yeah, and the butt
Come
fumble
on.
guy.
What else? Come on,
She's a
man.
sweet potato.
They got a washed up Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Which
He played pretty well there. He played well.
That bad
no,
for them.
He
you know
actually
what I mean?
was good with them. He actually played really well with them. Yes.
Yeah, well, he played well. Really well. It may
Pretty
be
well.
a stretch,
All right,
but
pretty
he
well.
played well.
Yeah. All right.
But
Sure.
what else do they have? They're seeing the small little light at the end of the tunnel, and you're wanting to turn it off for them.
I'm over it. I'm already over
give them a little bit.
And you know what I haven't heard from is our guy Sean. Like that's the one Jet fan I actually really like.
Yeah, I don't think I know any Jet fans.
Yeah.
I really don't think I know any.
Yeah, you'll know a bunch now.
Poor guys, man. And the Knicks fans too. What have they done?
Yeah, that's right.
And they have a little bit of hope, and they're trying to hold on to that as much as they can. You can't. It should be comical for us.
It is.
It is comical for us.
It is.
But you can't really fault them.
Fair enough. They're very verbose.
Poor people.
And they're all over the media. All right, Tony. Good to hear you. See ya.
New York, for someone, I lived in New York for 15 years. New York fans think only New York exists.
Right. That's 100%.
Nothing exists outside of the little the states besides them. Nothing exists out of the tri-state area.
Yep.
So that's why no one knows Jets fans over here, because they live in their own little world over there and they control most of the media.
That's 100% right. And they're everywhere in the media. And like that's what. Where's our guy Sean? Can I put out the bat signal? I want to hear from Sean.
I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay too. But I'm a big Sean guy. But yeah, no, you're 100% right on that. All right, I want to hit this because I told you. What do you make of these tests that they take? So quarterbacks are scrutinized more than anybody else, and they get questioned the most. And so there's a test, the Manning Passing Academy. It's the S2 cognitive test. Whatever that means. I don't know what's on the test. I don't know how it is. The Athletic reported this. So the S2 scores of the draft quarterback prospects were revealed. And C.J. Stroud of Ohio State evidently had the lowest score of all of the quarterbacks, 18% out of 100%. I don't know what we're doing, but 18% on whatever isn't very good, right? Bryce Young had 98%. So how does it work? Evidently, this test which, remember, there used to be the Wonderlic. Remember we used to hear about the Wonderlic test all the time? 9 different segments, and they're all graded separately, so it's kind of like the SAT. And the measurements that are used at each of these sections include things like the quarterback's ability to track multiple objects, make complex decisions, filter through and with different scenarios and defensive scenarios with an ability to improvise. I guess it takes 45 minutes. It runs through a gaming laptop, ultimately measuring the player's ability to quickly dissect information that appears on the screen in front of them. I'll give you the scores here in a minute, and but it's a different strategy than the Wonderlic. The Wonderlic was used in different ways. So I don't know how much you look into this. I got 2 former New Mexico Bowl quarterbacks on this list, by the way. Jake Haener was second, 96 for Fresno State. So Bryce Young had a 98, Jake Haener 96, Will Levis 93. Jaron Hall from BYU, who would have played in our game but didn't, 93. Clayton Tune, who did play in our game, 84. Look at all the New Mexico Bowl quarterbacks that are going to go in the draft. Anthony Richardson, 79. Hendon Hooker, 46. And then C.J. Stroud at 18. Read into it what you will. Tell you what people are saying about it when we come back. And then Richard Pitino is going to be with us at 8:30. Talk about his recruiting class and just kind of the philosophy now as you go with portals. We'll be joined by the Lowell men's basketball coach on the opening drive on a beautiful Wednesday on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your coverage from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say, people mean more.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and JJ Buck.
Yeah, get up on a Tuesday, wherever you're listening. Here in the Burque. I know you're there in Houston, Texas. I know you're there in San Diego as well, wherever you are. Thanks for being with us. You can find us on the app. You know we have an app? It took me a while. We got an app. Download the Sports Animal app. You can find us, take us wherever you go. Appreciate every single one of you spending a little bit of time with us on a daily basis and contributing to the program. You got a lot of things to do, and it means the world to us that you spend some time with us. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, J.J. Buck, A. Marie. 505-246-0610 if you want to get in today. 505-246-0610. Emails, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. We're just talking about it's not the Wonderlic anymore. It is the S2 test the quarterbacks are taking. So do only quarterbacks take this test? I'm an offensive lineman. I don't have to take this cognitive test. You don't care if I make quick decisions or not. Only if I'm a quarterback. I just gave you some scores on this test, and Bryce Young had 98% out of 100. Obviously, C.J. Stroud had 18%. Jake Haener, Fresno State, 96%. Will Levis, 93%. Clayton Tune, Hawaii, 84%. Hendon Hooker, 46%. So they're all over the board. So what does it mean? And I guess it's gonna stick around because the league needs some sort of a large sample size to determine how to pick a great quarterback. And so this is just another tool. I don't know that it's going to scare anybody away. I've seen it's amazing over the last couple of days how much banter there's been about quarterbacks, and this whole Will Levis thing. Is it Will Levis just saying I'm going to the Colts, or Will Levis saying I'm going to the Panthers, or where's all the Will Levis jumping up the chart stuff coming from? Because with all due respect, I'm not buying it.
It was someone on a message board who said, someone I know knows this, knows that Will Levis is going number 1 overall.
So it's just some guy with his thumbs on his
story
phone.
Came from.
So just some random dude with his thumbs on his phone?
Yes.
And it just got traction like crazy. Do you buy any of it?
No.
Will Levis be the all right, fill in the blank. Will Levis will be the blank quarterback taken in this year's draft. Fourth. I guess because third wouldn't be third. Threeth. So he's going after Anthony Richardson. Where's he going?
I think
Indy?
Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, one of those guys ends up with the Tennessee Titans.
Does it drop to 11, or do they move up to get him?
I could see that moving to 8 or 9.
Did they move up last year to get Malik?
No.
Why can I never remember?
Well, they was a 3rd-round pick.
Oh, he was? Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Falling like a rock.
All right.
They're like, yeah, let's take a chance on him.
Let me ask you this, because there's one guy on this list that really, really interests me. But after the top 4, right, whatever order, Young, Stroud, Levis, and Richardson, do any of these guys do anything for you? Jake Haener from Fresno State, Jaron Hall from BYU, Clayton Tune from Houston, Hendon Hooker from Tennessee.
Well, Hooker's going to be a 1st-round pick, most likely.
You think he's going
so
first round?
He's out of that group.
Okay. All right. Then the other 3.
Haener
feels Purdy-ish. And I look, there was one Brock Purdy in the last how many years? I mean, honestly, since Tom Brady, right? When was the last guy you found 6th round or later that went and did something? And to say Brock Purdy and Tom Brady in the same sentence is probably not fair, but it's a guy that was picked in a late round that took his team deep in the playoffs, right? Jake Haener feels that way to me. A little undersized, maybe a little underappreciated. I watched Jake Haener up close. You and I had a conversation with him. He's a pretty impressive kid, right? I mean, he's very, very focused, very, very buttoned up, right? He was talking about his nutritionist and his therapist and his trainers, right? I mean, he's been built for this. I think his arm strength is legit. He scored well on this Wonderlic or S2 cognition, whatever. Fourth round? What are you thinking?
Mid-round quarterback. I don't know if he goes to a team like San Francisco, then you can start talking about Brock Purdy, but Jake Haener's not going to elevate just an average roster in the NFL. I think he'll be a solid camp arm guy with a chance to be a backup.
All right. So what would give me an average roster? Tennessee? Is that an average roster? What would Brock Purdy have done with Tennessee?
Not been Brock Purdy.
You don't think so?
Nope.
It's interesting. So he's a system guy? I mean, like
I think this is one where what Brock Purdy did was insane. But Brock Purdy starting for the Houston Texans is
anybody starting for the Houston Texans. But there's a difference between a bad roster and an average roster, right?
Like that's the 49ers are an elite roster.
Okay, I think that's fair. So you don't think he'd have had any? The amount of success is contingent upon the whole roster. I agree with that. Would he have had success if he was Tennessee? Give me another marginal. Seattle. Would he have been as good? Would they have been better with him as opposed to Geno? Pittsburgh. I'm just looking at like rosters that are not Houston's roster. What about Indy? Like, what would he have done with Indy? With those weapons, with Jonathan Taylor, with the receivers they had. I mean, I don't know. We're playing a speculation game. I get it. I guess I'm getting into long-term stability of Brock Purdy. We'll see. Anybody else? Does Jaren Hall? I think Jaren Hall, and I know this is going to be unfair. I think Jaren Hall, the Zach Wilson BYU thing is going to scare people away from Jaren Hall.
Well, there's always that. There's USC quarterbacks, Alabama quarterbacks, who's really popped in the NFL.
Yep.
I think there's 5 guys teams are looking at as legitimate starters.
Okay.
And it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Hendon Hooker. And then depth guys can one rise given the moment. Our opportunity.
Okay. All right, 505-246-0610. The other one I'd like to see get a chance, and I don't know how good I think he is Clayton Tune, Houston's quarterback. Put up big numbers for Dana Holgorsen, but maybe that's selfish because I root for New Mexico Bowl alums. So is that just bad for me? I mean, am I just a homer? A couple other names on there. Tanner McKee from Stanford. What about Dorian Thompson-Robinson from UCLA? Athletic. And then I'm going to throw one at you that all he does is win, and he might not be great, and he might not be talented, but this is the guy that I've heard compared to Brock Purdy more than anybody else is Stetson Bennett from Georgia. He's won national championships. He's going to go late round. Now, he had the off-field mishap after the championship game. But it feels like, I don't know, here's a guy, he doesn't look the part, he doesn't the measurables, but he wins freaking football games. You don't like him?
I think that was everyone's assumption is that's Brock Purdy 2.0.
Right, that's one guy. Yeah.
Stetson Bennett. And teams will grab him late because he's going to slide, bring him into camp, see what you got.
5th round, 6th round, like
that's a reality for Stetson Bennett, especially when you're a quarterback that's good, but you don't have wow traits and you got the off the field stuff.
Like if I'll give you a couple places. I'm set at quarterback. I am Cleveland's set at quarterback. I'm Cincinnati. Kansas City seems to love Henne, right, as their backup. Like, they're just in love with him until he's going to be 70. Right, he's just going to be their guy. Who's Denver's backup?
Jarrett Stidham.
Well, he loves him, though. I mean, your head coach likes him. Raiders got a backup?
No.
I mean, he would fit with the Chargers in a place where you know he's not going in to compete to be the number one, right? Where you've got a solid number one. Chargers, Chiefs. But there's so many places where you don't have a solid number one. Who's the Lions' backup? But the Lions draft a quarterback late, right? But Stetson Bennett really interests me. Really does. All right, we're going to talk basketball and recruiting and Lobo basketball specifically. That's coming up at, what time did I tell you, 8:30 this morning? Richard Pitino, Lobo men's basketball coach, is going to be with us. We got Beer Week continuing coming up here in a few minutes. We'll give you a sweet deal that you're going to have that I know you like because, well, food is good and beer is food. Ergo, beer is good, and this is Beer Week. So we got a sweet deal for you on some beer. So Richard Pitino coming up at 8:30. Stick with us. I know you're going to want to listen to what he has to say. We're going to talk to him about the new guys, get you some little details on the guys that he's brought in. And really, JJ's got a great question for him. I mean, how do you recruit in this day and age when everybody can't be a star? And who is willing to play a role of a role player? And interested in hearing what he has to say in regards to that. Aaron Jones owns IPS. What is IPS? International Protective Service. It is affordable private security that you see all around town. They protect homes and businesses. I'm one of their clients. I've been one of their clients for quite a few years now because property crime was on the rise. Somebody really close to us had a home invasion not far from us, and just gives us peace of mind. It is affordable private security, highly trained armed guards and 24-hour patrols. Aaron started this business in 2006 from Albuquerque and passionate about making our city a better place and a safer place to live and work. They respond to alarms. If your alarm goes off, they're there within 5 to 7 minutes. The police are going to take way longer than that. They do daily checks. If you go out of town, they pick up newspapers and mails and packages that are dropped off. On garbage day, they'll roll the cans to the curb and back, give your home that lived-in look. I've trusted IPS. My neighbors are now IPS clients. It gives us peace of mind. I know it will for you as well. Give them a call, see what they can do for you. Committed to our city and your protection. Call IPS at 505-897-2420. Area code 505-897-2420 or online at ipsglobal.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support.
Sports Animal.
Well, there's all kinds of predictions on the drafts now. Everybody's got something. 85 on Sunday, really not here. Upper 70s is what I see. I don't know, that's on the text line. You tell somebody it's going to be 85 on Sunday?
Yeah. I checked the weather.
85 on Sunday.
I mean,
I checked because I'm moving this week, too, and
I got 76.
On my Apple phone.
Well, I've been stinking Apple products.
Apple weather.
I got green. I'm a green texter.
Yeah, my weather's looking better on my phone.
NOAA says 76. All right, whatever it is. It's gonna be, I mean, what's the difference? Was it upper 70s or
whatever.
85?
It's nice weather.
Look, that guy's, whoever this is pissed at you. I'm just telling you.
All right, well, then don't enjoy the weather or brunch.
That's right. You don't have to. God. It's so funny. It's so
Name
good.
3 players, and you're wrong at the weather.
And you're wrong, and you stink at the weather, too.
What's he really mad at?
I don't know. I really don't know. AC's in on New York teams, Jeff. All New York fan bases are cringy, insufferable a-holes. They think they are the world's gift. Jets, Rangers, Yankees, Mets, and Knicks are the worst. Giants and Islanders are okay. Barely. Thank you, AC, for your contribution to the show. Was there so you lived there. How long did you live there?
What, in New York?
Yeah.
Too long.
Yeah.
No, just 15 years.
And I was born there, and I used to go back there all the time. I kind of spent my formidable summers back there. Is there a particular New York fan base that you find to be the most repugnant?
Well, it's you know what? I actually I've been to every sporting event. Obviously worked in sports media.
You went out to Uniondale and went out to the
Let me tell you
Nassau
something.
County Coliseum?
I went to a lot of sporting events. Even went to an Army game. I mean, I did it all.
Army campus is unbelievable.
Oh,
by the way.
it's
West
unreal.
Point is one of the most
Put
unbelievable.
it on your bucket list if you
Yes.
want to go to a unique, cool sporting event.
100%.
So it's categorized too. It's like Jets, Mets, Islander fans, and then you got Rangers, Yankees, Giants fans. That's like usually your fan bases. And
yeah, so the people on the island like them. They love the Islanders because that's
and they love the Jets and the Mets.
And they love the Mets and the Jets because those two teams used to play at Shea Stadium, which is closer to the islands out in Queens, so it's closer to them. So that's the island fan base was Jets,
and then they
Mets,
can't
Islanders.
stand the Yankee Rangers, the winning franchises.
The Yankees, Rangers, Knicks were always the city and the Bronx team and even Westchester County.
So I actually have more fun with Jets fans at football games. I think it's just because they
drink a lot.
They all drink a lot. But I'm saying they live in a fantasy world. They're just have accepted their team what it is. They haven't won in a long time.
Yeah. All right. All right, fair enough.
But the media there is what's annoying, not necessarily fans.
Yeah. All right, Bill says it's award season, Jeff. The OD needs to give out the Mary Decker Slaney Award for the most off-injured athlete. If you remember Mary Decker Slaney, she was a runner. She was a hyped runner, it says. Light on hardware because she had a lot of bad luck, including being seemingly always hurt. The award for 2023 goes to Kawhi Leonard. Edging out other strong nominees, Embiid, Durant, Lamar Jackson, Zion, and the Big Cat. Most off-injured athlete. I see where you're going on Kawhi. I'd have to go Zion. I mean, if we're doing that. Tiger. But Tiger's 47 years old and way past his prime. And
okay.
I mean, it's hard for me. I mean, Tiger's got the same injury, but.
Okay. What? His injury, he almost died in an accident.
Yeah. It's the one. Yeah. I don't know. I know Stephen A. Smith went off on Kawhi, and a lot of people call him like the worst superstar ever or something like that, because he's only got 2 rings, and he's injured a lot.
Only?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Where do you
Kawhi? And here's the battle that's going on.
Yeah.
Because Shams from The Athletic reporting right now, Kawhi Leonard has a torn meniscus. The dude wasn't going to play.
Yeah, that's real, dude.
And the injury is real, but the frustration that he's injured again can be real as well. Like, no one's bagging on Kawhi Leonard. There shouldn't be.
Nobody's saying he's jaking it.
Because he has a torn meniscus. But it's just like, again. That's the frustration. It's the availability piece.
Yeah, 100%.
With Kawhi. It's where you load managed him all season, gets to the playoffs,
looks like
2 great games, and he tears his meniscus. And you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, where'd he tear it to? How long is that? Like,
and was he playing on it and then they shut him down?
How long is recovery on a meniscus? No, honestly, like, how long is that recovery?
It's not as long as like tearing your knee.
So he should be ready for camp?
Yeah.
Because that's something.
Then you're going to see another 50 games of Kawhi Leonard next year.
Yeah. Embiid gets hurt a lot. Durant was hurt a lot this year. Lamar missed a lot. I mean, Zion's got to be the guy, though, right? Strasburg? Steven Strasburg's got to go in there as well, doesn't he?
Does.
Yeah. All right. Maurice is in. We're going to have Richard Pitino here in a minute. Actually, in about 8 minutes. But Maurice is talking about, we spent a lot of time talking about the portal. So he says, Jeff, so Dickie P is sitting with a recruit promising a scholarship, 30 minutes of playing time. But when he's asked about other pluses, he hands out a business card and says, I don't know anything about that. You need to call this guy not affiliated with the university and work something out with him? What if the guy on the business card tells the recruit he'd like to help him, but he thinks Gonzalez needs a quarterback more than Dickie P needs another 6'2" guard, and that week's NIL haul is being used for football? Who's actually doing the recruiting and running these programs? It's from Maurice. Kind of the conversation we had yesterday, right?
Yeah.
When I asked you straight up, I mean, like, who's running the program? Yeah, this is a highly imperfect deal. We'll have a conversation. We'll talk a little NIL too. Richard Pitino's going to be with us here in about 7 minutes. We want to talk to him about the recruits that he's got in, how guys decide to go in and out of the portal. And JJ's got a great question for him. How do you convince guys? I mean, not everybody's going to start. Not everybody's going to play 35 minutes. Who wants to be – nobody wants to be. Who's willing to be a role player anymore, right? How do you fill a roster? Because, I don't know, I was at the Final Four and I watched those were deep teams that had role players. So we'll get into that. That's coming up next. Beer Week continues. You like Beer Week? You like beer?
Who doesn't?
Well,
with 85-degree weather too is my favorite. A nice ice
let me
cold
just tell
beer.
you something. Even if it's 78, I like beer.
What? I don't care if it's freezing. To be honest with
That's
you.
a really, really fair point. Beer Week continues. We got a sweet deal for you. It is Bosque Brewery today, and if you go to our website at 9 o'clock a.m., hit it quickly. You get $50 worth of Bosque Brewery for just $25. Lunch specials available before 2 p.m. They are now serving cocktails as well. They have a dog-friendly patio. Bosque Brewing Company opened its doors in 2012. They now have 6 locations across New Mexico serving great food, adventurous beer, Marie, not just beer, adventurous beer, and refreshing cocktails. So that is our sweet deal today. It is at sportsanimалabq.com. Click on our sweet deal icon. You'll see it right there. At 9 o'clock, there's only 60 of these available. I know you like the beer. I know you like the Bosque Brewing. And I know you like Beer Week because this has been a pretty popular run for everybody here. So go and take advantage of that. $25 gets you $50 worth of Bosque Brewery. Do it on our website. That's at 9 o'clock. When we return, we'll talk some hoops. Richard Pitino is going to be with us, the Lobo men's basketball coach, on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
There's a line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. Upstairs goes the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, La Cueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As La Cueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch, and she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get 1 run back. That one's hit on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the La Cueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier.
So much movement in college athletics and certainly in basketball and with rosters, and the roster that you care so much about, Lobel basketball roster. You learned about the names Mustafa Amzil and Nelly Jr. Joseph and Jamal Baker in the last week or two. Additions to next year's roster. Looks like there's a couple of spots open with scholarships available, and Lord knows how it all continues to go because it's always going. It's always recruiting season. Now, it used to be there was like an off-season, a recruiting season. There's no off-season anymore. But continuing to put together a roster that coming off a terrific season that ended up in the NIT. So what does it all mean, and what do you know about these guys? You know names? Well, the guy who's been recruiting them and the head coach of the program knows about them. Richard Pitino is the head basketball coach at the University of New Mexico for men's basketball. He joins us this morning on the opening drive. Good morning, Richard. How you living?
Doing great. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, appreciate you spending some time. But congratulations on what looks like a really nice start to portal season or whatever we're calling it these days. I know people see names, right? And for me, I've been doing this for so long in this town. You know, when I see a guy come down the ramp in shorts, I kind of get excited. But it's changed a lot, right? When I see what Nelly's done and Mustafa's done and Jamal's done, you've got three pretty strong additions that I know you're expecting to contribute immediately.
Yeah, totally different. I legitimately feel like I have a new job. And it's like you said, I mean, I think people in recruiting before, they used to see, okay, Donovan Dent was Mr. Basketball in the state of California. It's going to be exciting to see what he becomes, or Quentin Webb or Braden or whatever. Well, now it's like, okay, you see Nelly and you see a body of work, Mustafa and Jamal. Like all three of those guys have produced at a high level for a long time. So it's not out of the realm to expect a lot of them. So we're really excited about them. I mean, I think when you first take over a job, especially in today's landscape of not having to sit out anymore with transfers, you really have to reboot, really start over. But we feel really, really good about where we're at going into year 3.
Well, I think coming off what happened last year and with Josiah and you saw guys contribute right away, right? The guys who came in, big guys, Morris, right away contribution and turn things around. That's almost the expectation now, right? Development's like, I don't know, Richard, is it secondary? How do you handle development of balancing freshmen, high school guys coming in and developing, and guys who have to come in because you've got to win right away?
Well, my hope is that Quentin, Braden, Donovan, the young guys in this program help us win a championship at some point, and they're the key guys, and I think the biggest thing that we try to do with the younger guys is be honest with them about what their roles are going to be. Obviously, Braden and Quentin redshirted, so they didn't play at all last year. Donovan played almost 20 minutes a game, so, we're expecting a lot of him in the future. But it's I'm still old school in the sense of I want to build it from the ground up, but with the way that this thing works, I mean, you've got to bring in older guys. Yeah. And, can we recruit as well as retain? I mean, that's really the name of the business these days. So I think the reason why we've been successful with transfers like Jalen, like Jamal, like Morris, Josiah, is we've been very, very transparent about what the need is, and they fit it very well.
And Richard, you mentioned having that open, honest conversation about players and their roles, and once you are able to solidify your roster, when do you have those conversations? When do you start laying that foundation to guys about what you're expecting of them, getting ready for next year?
Well, I mean, I think you got to see what the roster evolves into, and then be honest with them on what you want. I mean, it's just evolving and changing so much. It used to be all about fall recruiting, and the spring you may add 1 or 2 pieces at the most. But if you had scholarships in the spring, it was almost like, what's wrong with you? Right. Now it's you're expecting guys to transfer and move on, and so you're just honest with every guy on the roster on where you think their path will be. But those are daily conversations, but they can change. And, you never know who's going to walk into my office and tell me they're leaving. It's to the point now where you're just happy if they actually come into your office and tell you, instead of just
reading it,
going to the transfer portal, or tweeting it out. So it's just a new world we're living in.
Richard Pitino with us here on the opening drive. And you look at someone like Nelly Jr. Joseph comes in last year, 63 and 52 blocks. What kind of defensive presence will he bring to this team in the paint?
Yeah, I mean, I used to give Morris crap all the time and say, Jalen House almost has more blocks than you do. Yeah. And we were clearly offensively by the numbers really, really good. We were very, very average by the numbers defensively. And some of that is we've got to do a better job coaching, for sure, but we've got to recruit longer players, and we needed to recruit a shot blocker like Nelly. Nelly certainly brings that. So I still think it's not like the defense was a total disaster by any means, but it's got to improve. Absolutely. And we were close. We were close in a lot of ways last year. Obviously, probably a win or two away from going to the NCAA tournament. I think it may have looked a little different with the Jalen House being healthy those 2 games. But nevertheless, you've got to see what you have, see what the league has, and you got to get better and stronger. And I think Nelly provides that. He's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with those San Diego State big guys. He's not going to back down. I mean, he came in here in this building and had 21. So I've seen him a bunch. I mean, I've seen him the last 3 years, and he's been a really, really good player for my dad at Iona.
Richard, when the Josiah thing obviously surprised a lot of Level fans, and I don't know if you were surprised by it. What can you share about that conversation, and were you surprised at the ultimate result?
Well, I think people have to get used to this. I think we've been so programmed to be like, what happened? What happened?
Right.
And we're all used to it. Like, what's wrong with, Lobo basketball? Or what's wrong with it's happening everywhere. And I think we all have to step back and understand that Josiah has the right, because he's going to graduate, to move on. And, I was not surprised by it, because we had open-ended conversations about it's coming down to, excuse me, with a lot of these guys now, playing time is obviously important, but now it's offensive role, expanded offensive role. I'm hearing that a lot, whether it was Javonte or Josiah. They want an expanded offensive role because they feel as though that will help them maybe in their career moving forward. Whether you agree with that or not, like that's their right. So it wasn't contentious at all. I felt as though if Josiah came back, he would have certainly had an increased offensive role. But, we had 3 guys that were terrific offensive players last year who were all conference players. So, I did what I felt was best for that team last year to put us in a position to win. Doesn't mean we're going to play exactly the same offensively this year. I feel like we'll have a little bit more balance. But at the end of the day, like, you're having these conversations with all 13 guys all the time. And I think fans and media and coaches are just going to have to be ready to adapt at all times.
I think it leads into we've been having these conversations, who's willing to accept the role as a role player, as a backup in the days of the transfer portal where everybody thinks they're going to jump in the portal and be successful. And from your perspective, I mean, how the percentage-wise, how many of these decisions, guys leaving, because you hit it on the head. People see guys leaving, they say, what's wrong with the program? And it's happening everywhere. And people don't understand. A lot of the times, this is coaches kind of saying, hey, we've recruited over you, or it's in your best decision to move on, or flat out saying, I don't have a scholarship for you anymore. How much do you think percentage is a player's decision as opposed to coaches kind of saying, hey, it's best for you to go?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like KJ Jenkins, came into my office, and KJ wants one more year, and he wants to be a starter. He knew I couldn't offer that for him. Right. Jamal Mashburn is maybe one of the best guards in the country. And I said to KJ, I think it'd be great for you. Like, I don't want you to leave. I love you as a person. But let's find you a great fit where maybe your stats can go up a little bit. And I was involved in the recruiting process for him to choose UNC Wilmington. And that's the way I want it to be. Or if it's Emmanuel Quach or Barima, like, I want to be a part of those conversations to help them find a better place. People, we talk about the transfer portal all the time. And a lot of media members say, well, coaches can go wherever they want. Well, that's not true. Coaches have substantial buyouts when they sign these contracts, so they can't. But the college kids right now, they're at the most mobile time of their lives. They don't have children in schools. They're not, ingrained in the community and all those things. So they legitimately can just walk in, grab their phone and their iPads, and they move on. So it's just part of the deal right now. But I'd love to be a part of these conversations, and it doesn't need to be contentious. Sometimes it will be, and that's fine. I mean, I still have a very close relationship with the athletic director who fired me in Minnesota. Yeah. It's just part of the deal. So it's just one of those things where we want what's best for them. If we feel like we can provide that for them here, I'm going to be open about that. And I'll tell them if I don't think they're right. But at the end of the day, it's their right to move on.
Yeah, and they got to be honest conversations. Richard Pitino's with us just for a few more minutes. I was in Nashville last week at football bowl meetings, and there was a panel with 3 conference commissioners talking about transfer portals, NIL, that sort of stuff. And they were talking about the transfer portal, and I heard a stat that 30% of the players in the portal moved down a level, whether that's power to non-power or down to a different division. And 20% of the players in the portal do not find another spot. And so while it's so popular and the numbers are crazy, there is a legitimate risk for those players because not everybody's going to find a place.
And that story is not being told. And again, I think the hard part right now is there's not enough transparency. I think when you look at coaches, right, there's 360 head coaches or whatever. It's not hard to figure out what their contracts are. It's not hard to figure out what assistant coaches are making or whatever. Like, nobody really knows the truth in this whole world. And I think the biggest thing that these transfers have to figure out is exactly what you said. What level do they want to be at? Most of the coaches are all good coaches in college basketball. Maybe your role can increase a little bit. But at the end of the day, what you have to find is the right level for you. Like, I look at, why did I decide New Mexico? I felt as though New Mexico was a top 3 job in the Mountain West. I still believe that right now, and I'm so happy that I did it. So whatever player, wherever you do decide to go to the right level where you can be one of the best players, because you probably only have 1 or 2 years to do it.
Way too short for this question, but I'm going to ask it briefly anyway. How do you marry NIL questions when you're in recruiting, knowing that supposedly you're not supposed to have that whole thing is so murky? How do you, because I got to believe it comes up in recruiting. So how do you merge that conversation?
Well, certainly you want to follow the rules, right? And the rules are that you can't use it as a recruiting inducement, but that is so very, very gray. And that's what I don't love about it. You know, it's you're not allowed to be involved in meetings with a collective and a recruit, but then you're held accountable if something is said wrong in that meeting,
Right.
which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I don't have a problem with NIL. I just think if they're going to open this up, really, really open it up so we all know truly what this is about, you know, and let's not go through the whole song and dance of a 48-hour visit and showing them campus and doing this and that, when at the end of the day, if it's going to be about money, fine. Like, I think it's become such a it was so negative for so long. Like, nobody would begrudge a coach if they left a place, you know, fans may, but for more money. Like, I mean, it's become more of a business now than it ever has. But there's still that grayness of what exactly it is. The bottom line is it's evolving, it's changing. We are trying to have conversations with all of our unbelievable supporters. I mean, Kurt has been amazing with it because it's just a new world. And it's if you don't have something to sell to these recruits when they get here, that there's going to be opportunities for you, good luck. Yeah. And so community support is so very, very important. But yeah, it's on our leaders, you know, in the NCAA to be more clear about all of this, because most of the coaches in our profession want to follow the rules, but a lot of them don't really know what the rules are.
No, I think that's right. And they're evolving, and you don't know who they is that is making the rules and what the NCAA is doing, because they're trying to get themselves out of it. And so, you know, for Kurt to promise one thing, it's got to be in conjunction with what you are. You got to be on the same page, but theoretically you're not supposed to even be on the page, which is crazy.
Well, and what's good about a guy like Kurt Roth is he wants what's best for the Lobos, not just for men's basketball. Right. He wants what's best for the university, all the sports, Albuquerque. Like, he is a guy who is fully invested in helping. And so we have to have as many conversations with him about that, about what we want to be about. Kurt understands that, you know, so it's a business. It's always been a business, but it's becoming more and more a business now than ever before. And the beauty of it, and I remember when there was talks about all this, I was concerned when I was at Minnesota, because I'm sitting there going, well, we are a small fish in this city, in the Twin Cities, because you got Vikings, Timberwolves, et cetera. I was really attracted to New Mexico because this state cares deeply about the basketball program and all the Lobo programs. So we're this big fish. And, you know, certainly that is huge when you're trying to build a program and survive in this landscape that they got going on right now.
I always appreciate the time. I know you're busy and there is no off season, but let's find a time to go. I'll even make the tea time and buy the first couple of rounds. How about that? You know,
Happy to do it.
Because of my green texting, it bothers people so much. So
it does. It's offensive. Yeah, switch your phone and then I'll play golf.
It's like I'm trying to integrate an all-white school or something. I understand. I'm lowering the property values. I understand. All right, be well. Congratulations on the success. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Richard Pitino, the head men's basketball coach at the University of New Mexico. A lot in there, and specifically about the conversations we're going to talk about next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Dream Star Stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful.
Next at 10 on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
All right, so you can respond to what Richard Pitino had to say. I thought there was a lot of meat in that. I don't know what you guys thought. I thought he was frank. We talked about the conversations. He talked about Josiah and how, like, look, man, this is what he wants. He's got the right to move on. And he was very clear. I think it's good to hear it from him as opposed to just us now and then. Like these guys have the right to move on. And it's not always, what's wrong with Lobo basketball? It's happening everywhere. JD, I think the average is up to 5. If it's not 5, it's 4 transfers per team. It's not just here. And so it's not what's wrong with Lobo basketball that Josiah Alec wanted to move on. Josiah Alec wanted to play a role that doesn't really work with the roster configuration here. And with all due respect, I'm not getting rid of Jalen House, Jamal Mashburn Jr., and Donovan Dent because you want the ball more, right? I don't know. There were a number of more things. I didn't even write them down. I just sticking out of my head. Did anything just pop off for you?
Well, the transparency, and let's stop acting like these things don't go hand in hand, NIL deals and recruiting. And for the NCAA to be like, yeah, we just got smashed on all this stuff, so NIL is here. But You cannot use it as a recruiting tool. How is it not a recruiting? Just Google. And look at who has collectives, what are they giving out. Conversations there. So more of an understanding that these things go hand in hand, and it makes no sense to be like, how dare you use this in recruiting, but yet players can get paid to be on your roster, but you can't talk about it. It's things like that.
Well, it's got to be part of
like
the conversation.
coaches like scratching their head, and coaches, schools should be more involved in this because everyone needs to be on the same page. And I think even under these players, got to make sure that they have the right people on their side. And in times that could be the coaches, be like, hey, this is what we can do for you. This is said contract for the year. You're going to sign it. We have your back. We have people in place monitoring this, because if the schools can be involved and then you have people outside of the program, like actually in the athletics department, someone could actually be hired to say, I don't know, just manage NIL deals and make sure that both sides are getting what they want out of it. It's things like that the progression needs to advance in college athletics.
I don't know how you can look at this with any sort of an intelligent eye and say that NIL and and recruiting and the coaching staff, the program, cannot work in concert, right? How can I want, if you're telling me the collective's got to be something completely different, how can you sit there and tell me the collective is going to know what Nelly Jr. Joseph should be worth, or what, you know, where Jamal Baker's going to fall into the thing? What kind of money? Who's promising what? Who's promising the playing time? Who's responsible for following through? It has to, I mean, it's got to work in concert, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to they got to figure it out. And I thought, you know, talking about the transparency with who's willing to play the role of a role player, I thought was really, really interesting. If you missed it and want to hear it again, it'll be up wherever you get your podcast. It'll be on our website, sportsanimalabq.com. Part-time bro and _ JJ Buck on the Twitter, and find that stuff. It'll be on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. It's all there for you if you want to listen to it again, because I thought there was a lot of meat in there. Lobo women's basketball just added another player within the last few minutes, a high-scoring guard. Did you not know about this? Woo! International player, JJ, for you to learn all about. Tell you about that. Draft is coming. All the latest draft news is we continue to percolate closer and closer and closer. And boy, was there fantastic NBA last night. Better performance last night. Trae Young hitting that big shot to win the game, or Devin Booker scoring 47 to close out a series. It's the OD on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're #1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Boss.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and JJ Bond.
All right, coming up, a good conversation with Richard Pitino. If you caught it, want to hear your thoughts on it. If you missed it, it'll be available for you wherever you get your podcasts. Talking about Mustafa Umzil a little bit, but more so Nelly Jr. Joseph and the new recruits and really the process and how it molds with NIL and the transfer portal and guys who wants to be a role model, who's willing to accept the role model. How do you balance developing players as to winning now? I thought it was, in a short time, I thought there was a lot of meat in there. And I suggest if you missed it, go ahead and find it because it was good stuff. Coming off of that, Lobo women's basketball just put out a release. They've signed their third player for the upcoming season, Laura Langerman, a 5'7" guard from Breckerfield, Germany, played most recently for the VfL Viactive Astro Ladies Bochum, a Division II team. All right, I'm done. In the basketball Bundesliga. So you got another international player, and evidently it looks like she can score a little bit. So you keep adding to that roster. Try to get Bradbury in there, maybe Friday. What do you think? Work on that a little bit.
I like it.
All right, work on that. All right, I want to finish up on the my thoughts on Pitino and where he went. So I believe him, and I know there's a whole thing where coaches are. We love to lump. They're all this and they're all this. All you media guys are this. Okay. I think Richard, for the most part, is a straight up guy, right? Like he's never said, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to end my career in New Mexico. I love it here. Here's why I'm here. But I think at some point you all realize, he's going to probably do something. I think when he talks to a recruit, I got to believe that he's straight up with him, right? When he brought in Jamal Baker, there probably was no conversation. Hey, you got a chance to move ahead of Jamal Mashburn Jr., right?
Yeah.
Or Jalen House, right? There's got to be transparency, and he's right. Those have to be continuous conversations throughout the year. Guy walks into my office and tells me this. I got to believe there was long conversations with KJ Jenkins. I think KJ probably did like it here, but KJ saw his role. Now, you can tell me, I asked the question, what percentage of these transfers is a coach's decision as opposed to a player's decision, right? KJ's was ultimately the player's decision. Coach would have loved to have him here if he was willing to play that role. He wants to be in a bigger role. Well, then the answer is you got to go somewhere else. I'll help you find that spot.
And I appreciate the perspective that Richard Pitino has on it, knowing that it's not a time to be bitter because someone wants to transfer. Are there going to be situations where both parties aren't happy? Yeah, that's going to happen. That's life. Not every relationship is going to be perfect. But I appreciate his perspective of, hey, these guys are in the portal, and I want to help them. And he mentioned KJ Jenkins. He mentioned Brima Sek.
Mm-hmm. He mentioned Emmanuel Quach.
Like, and I'm sure the same thing, for Javante. Just didn't say him by name, but I want to help these guys. It makes no reason to burn a bridge just to burn it on the way out, because you still have a responsibility as a head coach, even in this day and age when it's business. These are still young men. And while they're playing more and more of the professional style game off the court, you still have to facilitate good relationships because your reputation matters. What you do will get out there. And if you're just a good guy, help a player, get somewhere, use your connections, find a good landing spot, what goes around absolutely comes around in these circles.
You get what you give. No, I think that's 100% right. And this is an ongoing, continuing, evolving situation. And I will tell you, probably on a daily and a weekly basis, right? Guys, you've got to manage. We talk about coaches all the time having to be, psychologists as well as being coaches. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to develop. I thought the one thing I'm still not certain, and I think he's probably still scrambling with a little bit, is finding the balance between I've got to win now and bringing in impact transfers now and mixing that, molding that, meshing that with developing players. He mentioned Quentin Webb, Braden Applehans. He didn't even mention the two freshmen who are coming in, right? In Toppin and Washington. And developing those guys and getting them to the point while bringing guys in on the top that you need to make an immediate impact.
Because right now,
we got 11 guys on scholarship, right?
Well, House, Dent, Mashburn, Applehans, Webb, Forsling, Junior Joseph, Amzo, Baker, Washington, Toppin. You figure all those guys could actually get minutes.
What about Webb and Applehans? Right? Did you mention either one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, you got 11 guys on that roster that you're going, okay. Did you mention Baker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The only ones I didn't mention were the walk-on.
So all 11 guys on scholarship right now, you're going, well, they should be able to play. Now you're going to bring in two more guys that might be relatively high profile, might be expected to play right away. I mean, look, you're going to have an injury, you're going to have a defection, you're going to have something.
Because that's going to be the challenge especially for
100%.
Applehans and Webb. Because for Webb, you're like, Coach, I did what you asked.
Yeah, I want a chance.
Are you going to give me the chance now to play on the wing?
No, yes. People are pointing to the Jalen Tovar situation, and I promise you that Richard was 100% transparent with Jay, right? We got these two bigs coming in. They're starting. You're going to be our guy off the bench, and obviously after 3 games, Jay transferred again, right, out of Southern Utah. If I'm not mistaken, he's transferred again. And look, it didn't work for him. I'm not gonna lie. I told you this after the Colorado game a year prior. I thought he was the guy who was transferring. And it ended up being Jethro who did. I was surprised he made it that long. I was surprised he made it through the summer. Remember all the Twitter stuff? I ain't going nowhere. Remember he was really vocal? Yeah. He stuck it out and then left after 3 because and I think some of the times guys bet on themselves, right? Coach says you're going to have a chance to earn a spot. Now, I'm not promising you a damn thing. Right? And so, JJ, when someone tells you got a chance, you go out and compete, you think you're better than the guy next to you, but the coach or the boss or whatever thinks that person's better, and so they get the promotion. Right? That's happened. And you go, wait a minute, what the hell? Where am I going around here? I proved myself, and the coach or the boss has another perspective, right? So that very well could have happened. But this one's tough, man. It's not easy. Rod says 30% plus 20% equals 50, Jefferson. It seems to me this is why you don't need NIL. If 50% of the guys are left standing without a chair when the music stops, I can't believe they're all scrubs. They're all coming from D1 squads. They're all hyped on programs like the OD when they first signed. There's got to be some quality there just waiting for a chance, as Craig Neal used to say, to play. They're not all scrubs.
Yeah, and they'll get that chance the school doesn't have a collective.
Right, and not everybody's getting NIL money. And that's something you got to understand here, too. Not everybody who plays college. Like, I don't know what KJ is going to get to go to UNC Wilmington. I'm going to guess it's not a bunch, if there's anything. I don't know.
And then those schools that don't have it can beast up on all those players and go to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Look, Rod, here's the deal. NIL's here to stay. It's not going away. So to say you don't need it would be, I just think, inaccurate. It's here, and so you need it to compete. San Diego State's finding that out right now. Sounds like they're losing Keyshawn Johnson to USC because USC's got a big collective, and they're going to pay him a whole lot more than San Diego State did, right? There's a number of players there that are just kind of going.
And then then the pushback you'll get is, well, why would you do that? Why would you leave San Diego State when you just went to the national championship game? When you just did the most unbelievable thing? It's because, yes, they're on scholarship, and not having student debt is fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
But for a lot of these guys, this is going to be their time where they can maximize their athletic talent. It's so easy to say, oh, go play basketball overseas, go play this or that. You could be making more money in 1 year at USC than you can make playing basketball in Portugal.
That's why you're seeing these guys
They are maximizing this window of their athletic ability and talent in a business setting that they are absolutely providing value to.
That's why you're seeing guys stay for their 5th and 6th years in college. Remember a few years ago, if you looked at the draft, there were no 4-year, 5-year guys at all. Hell, there were barely any 3-year guys. There were 1 and done, 2 and done guys, right? That's why now, hell, I can make more money playing at Pick Your U than I can going overseas to Poland. And I know the language here. Lobo Hobo said Patino translation, Jeff. He basically said the freshmen will not play this year. They're here as a foundation for the future. That's great in April. It's one thing to tell guys they won't play, but let's see what happens in November when these guys are sitting on the bench for the first time in their careers. How they feel when they're actually riding the pine. Well, Braden Applehans was injured. Quentin Webb stayed. So let's see what happens. But this is going to be, and Richard said, right, I think at the very beginning, he's kind of still feeling his way through this. He said, I'm old school. I like to develop guys. But what's the new adage in college basketball? How many times do we hear you got to get old and stay old? Right? Isn't that what we keep hearing?
Yeah.
Look at the teams that won. Look at the teams in the Final Four. San Diego State was old. UConn's old. Teams that made runs are old. Those one and done. Where was Kentucky? Right? This has evolved in the last decade in a big, big way. And it's changed. But it's interesting. And the answer isn't, well, we don't need to do it. No, you're going to get left behind. If that's the answer, you're going to get left behind. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. When we come back, I still think he's a superstar. He was out. He didn't play in the playoffs. Tell you why and what that means, because there was a real injury for the Clippers superstar. What that means going forward. It's next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
The Jim Rome Show.
MLB's new rule.
Pitch. There's a line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. It's upstairs, goes to the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed. Is that one right through the gap in right center? Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, La Cueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As La Cueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch, and she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get 1 run back. That one's hit on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the La Cueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easy.
Our Beer Week sweet deals continue. It's live on our website now, sportsanimалabq.com. Go there, click on the sweet deal icon. $50 for just $25. You spend $25, you get $50 worth of Bosque Brewing Company. It's good at the Nob Hill and the Cottonwood location. Get on there now. I think there's still something left. Maybe not.
They have really good food.
So yes.
If you've ever been there.
Yes, they do, actually.
I love their spicy cheese curds.
There's actually, they really
just
do.
let everyone know.
Bosque, that's the location. Now, I know this isn't good, that location. Bosque is where I go right there on Montebo in Spain, right? That's
yeah,
dude, I
that's
love
the
that
newest
place.
one. It's so nice.
Love that place. No,
So
that's
good.
actually, the food is
bomb.
surprisingly really good. Audra thinks the fish and chips there are the best in the city.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, she's convinced of that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. She tried the place over at your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were
It's
good.
a battle.
Yeah. I mean, she thinks the battle was won, but okay. No, it's real. All right. So I told you about a superstar that was hurt going into the playoffs that didn't play. Kawhi Leonard didn't play yesterday. The Clippers almost came back and won anyway. Paul George didn't play too. Kawhi Leonard has been diagnosed with a torn meniscus in his right knee. He didn't play the final 3 games of the first round. He's out. So, JJ, you asked, when did he get hurt? And according to this report, he had played through the injury in game 2. So he, I guess, hurt it in game 1. What do you have, like 30-something points in that game? They didn't have Paul George. Maybe he'll be ready for camp. We'll see. That's I thought it was pretty big. You get a win last night from the Nuggets. Feel good about that? Got to feel good about that.
They had to finish that series. They just wanted. Minnesota was getting a little too confident. They were putting a little too much pressure on the Denver Nuggets. Needed a couple days, especially with Phoenix closing out the series. That's your next round opponent. You want to match up the same days of rest with Phoenix. Jokic a little banged up, so you want to just try to get him back to as manageable as you can at this point in the season. And if you're in Minnesota, Anthony Edwards showed you that, all right, we got a legit number one. Figure things out with this Twin Towers for next year, and they're going to be a really competitive team in the Western Conference because Anthony Edwards is that dude. But back, to Kawhi Leonard, where you have to be concerned is looks like the torn meniscus is in the same knee that he tore his ACL, and it's the same leg that he had the quad issues. If you go back to the end of his time in San Antonio when he was hiding in New York, he didn't really know what was going on, and then they traded him to Toronto, and it's just at a point when Kawhi Leonard's on the floor, he can still be one of the best players in the NBA. You just don't know how many times he's going to be on the floor.
Yeah, and with that same knee being the issue, it's concerning. All right, we've been talking a lot about the transfer portal in college athletics, and 24 players since the spring game at Colorado have transferred out of Deion Sanders' program. And then the story came out, was it yesterday or today, JJ, that the university evidently is not giving these guys their video?
That's what some of the players are saying. They haven't been able to get film from the Buffaloes.
So they could go put together a recruiting tape and go find somewhere else. Deion, about an hour ago, tweeted this: everybody wants to sit at the table and eat, but ain't nobody wants to work to provide everything on the table, including the food. I don't believe in luck. I believe in hard work. The harder and smarter I work, the more opportunities present themselves. Either you run today or today runs you. I run today. Hashtag me. No, it says hashtag Coach Prime. Like, hashtag me.
Might as well have done that.
Yeah. What's he telling me? Basically, these guys who left weren't willing to work?
He's putting that out there.
That's what he's telling me, right? Mm-hmm. The guys who are leaving, they're not working. Okay. It's an interesting one, man. It's going to get spicy up there, and I'm going to tell you that everybody is going to fall on the side of Coach Prime, at least until the season starts. Okay? Now, if they win, and I showed you their schedule, right? They open with TCU and Nebraska, and, I mean, if they win, everything's going to be fine.
So, and Deion Sanders isn't running from this, and he's openly told players that, and also in reports that are coming out that they are cut, and they're no longer on the CU roster. But even if you are going to have that mindset, then you still got to give those players an opportunity. Like, give them film. Don't be withholding practice film from last year, or at least allow them to cut clips up. Because if you're going to say, hey, I don't want to release our practice film, well, it's a different coaching staff, so what does it matter? So it's practice film from last year, and your roster is 90% new. What are you scared of?
So this is interesting. Ryan Clark, who played in the NFL, big voice on ESPN, just tweeted, are most transfer portal players allowed to get their practice film from the school they're leaving? CU players make it public, they won't be. I'm wondering if handing over the film is general rule or normal practice. I know a transfer from another D1 who was not allowed this either. And everybody's chiming in. No, college head coach is giving a player practice film. That's not a Prime thing. It's a general rule of thumb. Any practice film the public sees is either leaked or from something that was not open to the public. So, I don't know what's right here, but boy, these players sure are being vocal about it, aren't they?
Yeah, and it comes with territory too, as you got to be ready that things could be harsher with some coaches, especially with Deion Sanders. And if you want to start stepping into quote unquote big business in college athletics, and players are going to have to be ready for things not always going their way and maybe having some battles. When it comes to practice film, I can understand that, like coaching staff's not wanting to release
all their stuff,
all
right?
all practice film,
Yeah.
but wouldn't you feel like there's a happy medium where you could be like, all right, here's a couple plays for said player
And I guess if he doesn't have any game film, he needs the practice film, right?
that we can give you?
Yeah, I can see where I don't know that I want all my practice film out there. I mean, I can see no, because
if
I
I'm
give you 3
Sanders,
plays of him
yeah.
and 7 plays of him and 8 plays of him,
And that's like
and
all
now all
practice.
of a sudden, damn, they got 50 plays to look at of my practice film. Yeah, I can see where I don't want that out.
In this
Hell
case,
no.
though, like
I don't know.
entire new roster, new coaching staff, just let them have some film.
All right. When we come back, big night out at the lab tonight. What does this mean? New Mexico United, I firmly believe, became as big as they are in that first year because of their run in the U.S. Open Cup. When all of a sudden in that first year they were competing with and beating teams at the highest level of soccer in the United States. They're in that cup right now. What does tonight mean, and how big is it for that franchise? We're going to get into that a little bit next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal.
Last year, you gave us books, and we gave you beer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from U.S. Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At U.S. Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
610, the sports animal.
All right, before we get into that, Paige is listening in Houston, by the way, Amory. And she said, to Colorado's defense, we're talking about Colorado, the players saying, I want my practice video. And we're asking, is it common practice to give players access to their film from practice? And she said to Colorado's defense, they've got like 41-plus players in the portal as of yesterday. 18 entered alone on Monday. How does one cut film for that many players at once? It's not possible. She says, I don't know many coaches that are allowing that much practice film go out the door. And she's right. I said my response was exactly. Essentially, their whole practice would be available for public consumption. Right? I mean, we're hearing the coach is too harsh and all this stuff. She says, can you imagine the eyes on all your film, the scrutiny that comes from that? The coach is too harsh. That was an illegal hit. It looks like the trainer and med staff didn't pull him out quick enough. It would be a dumpster fire. She's not wrong. I think on the surface, you listen to the players and they say, they're not giving me access to my film. I think the common perception is, well, that must be common practice, right? But the more I get through this, 41 dudes want, what do they want? 6 clips, 7 clips, 10 clips? How much?
Who knows?
All right. They're probably not all the same clips. I got 410 clips out there. It's kind of proprietary information, isn't it?
It is. Now, I will say that with this staff and having that many players leave the program, and if you are telling those players to get up and leave, you should give them some
help them.
Especially if you're the one that's saying, you want to work hard, you're not good enough to be able to see you anymore. Blah.
Jump in the portal.
You turned over how much of your roster at this point in time? More than half of it's brand new coaching staff, so no one's going to learn anything off of last year's practice film.
I don't know. Well, if it's last year's practice film, that's one thing.
Because that's what those guys have. Because I understand if you don't want to give them the spring film this year.
Well, so if it's last year's practice film, is that what we're talking about then?
It would have to be a possibility.
I
get if it's a spring film.
Yeah.
You're not getting
well, that's all Dion. You want to give them last year's stuff, it doesn't matter.
It's got to be on a digital drive somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. I really don't. If someone knows more of protocol on that, I'm willing to plead my ignorance here. I just don't know. But I can understand why Colorado would say, "Look, man, I'm not putting 400 different plays out there for public consumption, so you guys know what we're doing. Here's our formations. No. All right, big night out at the lab, Isotopes Park, or is that Rio Grande? Is it Rio Grande or Rio Grande when we're talking about the credit union? Rio Grande Federal Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park. U.S. Open Cup tonight. It's New Mexico United and Phoenix Rising. Winner, it moves on. This is a non-USL championship match, so this one does not count in the standings. This is for the Open Cup. JJ, I still contend to this day that they're riding, the United is riding the momentum off of what happened. What was that, 2019?
Yeah, the first season.
That they made that run, and it was a spectacular run. That this brand new franchise, I firmly believe that was the biggest thing that's happened to them in their popularity. That people saw this new team compete at a level, and nobody could have told you what the U.S. Open Cup was a week before they played their first MLS game. But all of a sudden there they were, and then they beat Colorado and they beat Dallas and lose to Minnesota. And this was a big deal. They make the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open Cup. And I think that sprung them. And for a franchise that has been a leader in attendance in their league, and been, I don't know, is it fair to say an okay team on the pitch, right? I mean, they're one of the last teams in the playoffs the last couple of years, right? 10 out of the 14, I think, in their conference, 10 out of 15, 10 out of 14, make the playoffs. So how big is this? It's their first U.S. Open Cup match in Isotopes Park. They play a team that they consider to be a rival in USL Championship, and they got to go outside their season ticket base, so they've got to ask everybody to go purchase tickets and repurchase. This isn't part of your package that you get. How big of a night is this for the franchise as they continue to
It's gigantic.
Try to gain momentum for a new stadium?
It's gigantic. I think the stadium, if you're a fan, you're going to be there regardless. Of
100%.
Pushing them for a stadium.
I think that 5,000 to 6,000 base is all about it.
And I think since we're not having a bond issue to vote on,
right, it doesn't matter.
Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, if they are investing said money, then they could be the last place team, and they're still going to build a stadium.
So what does it mean? Then this cup run means what?
Right now, you have a team that is struggling early in the season.
One win, 3 losses, and a draw.
Not scoring goals. You get a rival coming in a tournament that has meant so much to this franchise. It's gigantic. Is their season over if you don't win against Phoenix Rising tonight? No, but it's just another level of frustration that you have to overcome. Month and a half in your season.
No, your season's not over. Your cup run would be over.
Be very disappointing to the fan base.
Yeah, I wonder, and if you're out there, and if you're going to the game or going to the match tonight, and you're going out to the ball pitch,
Phoenix was the team before El Paso, before the COVID, the schedule, and it feels like every other week you're playing El Paso.
Right.
That they're butting heads. Fan bases were going at it. The games on the pitch were great.
Yeah,
Phoenix knocked them out of the Open Cup last year.
So, and that's fact, and that was down in Arizona. So for you who love United, and are you is this priority for you? Did you say, all right, here we go? The Open Cup's here. We've never had an Open Cup match here, and here comes the team that knocked us out last year. Here comes a rival. Is this something that is must watch for you? Is this one of those I got to be there tonight? And for those, I'll even ask you this: what do you put more emphasis on? So they play a home match, a USL match that matters in the standings on Saturday, and they play this one that doesn't matter in the standings, but it's for the Open Cup. Which is more important? You can tell me I want to win both, and I get it if you're a fan.
You got to build the strongest roster you can for both games. Like, this isn't.
But which do you care more about as a fan? Early in the season, do you care about an early season USL match, or do you survive and go on? Which one?
Probably tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Why?
Just a chance, because it's an elimination tournament where you have the ability to play MLS teams that,
right?
Even when you look at the games they played, and I went up to Colorado for that first Open Cup match when they played the Rapids.
Yep.
And it was a mixed squad. The Rapids still had some starters out there, but the momentum they got from winning that game was unbelievable.
I think they're still riding.
They just went into an MLS stadium.
Yeah.
Even when the MLS teams are still kind of like, all right, whatever. Like, it's early round Open Cup play. We're going to mix our roster up more than United. But they won that game. How they won it came on Frater getting a late goal, winning in penalty kicks. Just the unbelievable storyline. Then advanced to beating Dallas.
Yeah.
And then you had the wake-up call when the MLS team actually wanted to
Remember, they were up a goal, and then they got pumped right out.
And got beat 6-1 in Minnesota. Yeah. But it's still that ride, that journey, that build-up. So if you're talking about a USL Championship game on a Saturday in late April, early May versus the Open Cup game, it's Open Cup.
So here's what I think, because I agree with you, the opportunity to potentially play MLS teams for the franchise, for popularity, for momentum, for the stadium momentum. I think tonight's bigger because of all that, everything you said. The opportunity next week to say, oh, we're playing an MLS team. For this year's squad, to me, Saturday's more important because they got to start finding some points. And they got, their 1 win, 3 loss. And their 1 win, they won their opener on a penalty kick in like the 86th minute. They won 1-0, right?
But tonight could help you figure out something for Saturday.
I imagine. Yeah,
Like,
I think
you're
everything
at a point,
help you figure out something for the next game.
yeah, in the season where you have a lot of soccer left, but this is your first. All right, your backs are against the wall. This isn't, hey, we played good, let's get back to practice and then go clean it up for Saturday. Like you lose this game, you're out. Phoenix Rising got you again.
Yeah. And then you're gonna have to see him pretty soon. If you want to get in on that, I'm just curious. Are you going tonight? Is it something that's important to you? And if so, why? I'm listening because I think it's a big night for them tonight. Stephen, you want to talk about the NBA a little bit? Good morning, Stephen. You're on the Sports Animal. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. I have a question that I'm kind of perplexed about. When the NCAA basketball tournament was on Channel 13, the semifinals were broadcast in Spanish, and the finals were broadcast in Spanish. Now, all the NBA games, playoff games that are on Channel 7 now, are all being broadcast in Spanish. Now, I call because you might have an insight into this. Why is this happening? I mean, I'm from New York, and I was dying to see Cleveland and the Knicks at the Garden because I used to go to a lot of Knicks games, and the fans in New York are just fantastic basketball fans. I have to turn the sound down and listen to it in silence.
Yeah, so work with me on this because I think this is the answer. So there's a SAP button.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Really?
Because when you look at the game, the pregame show is in English. Right before they go on, the announcer and the color commentator are speaking in English. Soon as the tip-off comes, it goes to Spanish.
So can I ask you, because I don't know the answer, and I'm going to try to find it for you, Stephen, because I'm watching the games and I'm listening in English. Are you watching over the air? How do you have direct TV?
I got Dish.
You got Dish.
Like a Dish.
Yeah, I have Dish.
Yeah,
and,
I would call Dish and tell them what's going on because it's got to be something because I'm getting it at home. I think, are you getting it in English? Yeah, so we're getting.
Yeah,
it in
well,
English.
I live in Santa Fe now.
Yeah. So I would call Dish Network and tell them what's going on and say, hey, I got nothing against Spanish, but I don't understand it. I'd like to hear it in my native
because
tongue.
usually, like you said, the announcer says in the beginning, if you want to get this broadcast in Spanish, go to your Zap button.
Yeah.
But
I don't know the answer. Then I would call Direct or Dish TV, man.
It's definitely annoying as hell.
I'll bet it is.
Because I know a lot of Spanish people. I have friends that are Spanish.
Yeah.
And I would say 95% of them really don't care about basketball. The people who do have sons and daughters playing basketball.
The bottom line is you want to hear it in English. You want to be able to understand.
Because it takes it reminded me of COVID when they played in the bubble, when basketball, when the COVID was on.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? The fans don't really make a difference, but they do, especially these playoff games. I don't know if you've been watching any, but they're all fantastic
No, they've been
games.
great. We've been talking about them a lot. Stephen, my suggestion is call Dish. Tell them what your issue is.
That's what I'm going to do right now when I get off the phone because that could possibly be the problem.
That's got to be it. All right, man. Good luck with that. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
I know I've told you this story before. I'm going to tell it again before we break. So back when I was at Channel 7, and SAP, Second Audio Programming, was a brand new thing. Monday Night Football, I did the sportscast and say, hey, if you want to watch the game tonight and you want to watch in Spanish, hit the SAP button on your remote and you can watch the game in Spanish. So I went back to my office. I was having dinner at my desk like I always do. Phone rang, Action 7 Sports, and this guy started yelling at me. He said, I'm trying to watch the damn, and there were a lot of F-bombs in there, football game, and they're talking in bleeping Mexican, he told me. And I want to watch the game, not in English, he told me. I want to watch the game in white. That's what he told me. I want to watch the game in white, and they're talking in bleeping Mexican. I'm like, sir. There's a button on your remote. He's like, no, it's not my damn remote. It's you people, and they're talking. I'm like, okay, sir. I gotta go. Yeah, people lose their mind.
Oh,
that's
man.
one of those I never forgot.
Yeah, no, that's one for the Rolodex.
That's one I never forgot. But yeah, all right. 505-246-0610. When we return, everything you need to know as you hit the water cooler, hit your day, get you on your way, going through your Wednesday, get you everything that was a headline this morning. I want to tell you about John Thomas Jewelers, though, before we get out of here, because I'm so impressed by them. I made a purchase with John Thomas Jewelers here in the last month. It went over incredibly well. They're the best jewelry store, period. Period. This is not some mall jeweler where you stumble in and you're going to pick something out of a case and be pressured. This is custom jewelry and incredibly affordable. They do more custom jewelry in a week than most jewelers do in a year. Why is it so affordable? Because they do it on site. They've got incredibly skilled jewelers and a whole design center and repair center right there on site, so they don't have to send it out anywhere. That's where the big costs come in. They do it right there. So if you can dream it, they can make it. If you're looking for an engagement ring, custom made for you and her, or you and him, this is it. They will walk you through the process. And now with any purchase of just $5,999, so anything basically $6,000 or more, they're giving a 7-night all-inclusive trip to the Dominican Republic. So it's perfect for couples looking to get engaged. You get the ring and the honeymoon. Perfect for couples looking to celebrate an anniversary, get jewelry and a trip, or anyone just looking to get away. And let me be very clear, this is no contest. You don't get entered for it. Any purchase of $5,999 or more, and the trip is yours. All the food, all the drinks, tropical destination. They're going to give this gift away with the purchase while supplies last, so until all their travel certificates have been given away. Go see them. It's johnthomasjewelers.com on the 3rd floor of the Lewis University building on Louisiana, 1 block south of Manal, just across the street east of Coronado Mall. John Thomas Jewelers. If you can dream it, they will make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends.
Qualifies Deion Sanders to be a head coach. And my response was probably his success at Jackson State, right?
Yeah.
He knows the game. He had great success.
You can be a coach without having to do this whole, I was a GA, and then I was a special teams coordinator, then I was...
A lot of different routes. So a number of the Colorado players, and this is what people will be talking about today. I really believe this is going to be a big deal. Colorado's down to 16 returning scholarship players from last year. Jeff, they were 111. They should be down. All right, I can listen to that. But a lot of the players who are now former players are talking to The Athletic. And outgoing players are talking about spring practice. One player, a now former safety at Colorado, named Jeremy Mack, quote, Coach Prime just told me up front, we have plans to go another way. You competed. You did everything we wanted you to do this spring, and you fought. That was my first meeting with Coach Prime since I've been here. End quote. Another guy, an offensive lineman named Travis Gray, quote, I'm not sure he knew the names of half the kids he got rid of. He was worried about who he brought in. If you were on the 1-11 team, it seemed like he really didn't care about us at all. He already said he was going to get rid of 25, 30 of us. That's exactly what he did. End quote. It's a young man named Zach Courtney, a tight end, again, talking to The Athletic. Quote, none of the new coaches would talk to the old players and treat us the same as the people they brought in. The new guys wouldn't get picked on as much in film. Coaches would tell them to just do better. But if it was an old player, they'd keep going off on what you did wrong and keep yelling about it. End quote. I'm going to guess Prime's going to go, that's right. They were 1-11, and I told you I was changing the culture, and that's what we're doing. Now, is there a way to do things? Look, he's not invested in these young men. They weren't his guys, but you'd like to believe that, as Richard Pitino told us earlier today, and by the way, Richard Pitino was spectacular today. If you missed any of that, feel free, go find it. It is already up. Amory's already put it up. It's wherever you get podcasts. It's a really good listen. It's worth your time today. But he talked about being compassionate and being upright and being transparent. Upright's not the right word. Upfront and transparent with players who are leaving your program and helping them find a new spot. Now, look, Deion Sanders didn't recruit these guys. He made it very clear he doesn't think they're very good and they're not worthy of what he's doing. You kind of want to be human about it, right?
Yes. But it's the edge that Prime is bringing, and it's also the reality of it. It is, as this gets more professional based, you're gonna have situations like this, and you're gonna want certain things that as a student athlete, even in college, you're gonna have some different challenges too.
All right, here's what else we'll talk about tonight. Oh, look at that. This was the first one in a long time. A United text. We're talking about United's Open Cup match today against Phoenix Rising. This one says Zach Prince, that's their head coach and technical director. Zach Prince was a lazy, bad hire by Trevisani when Troy Lesesne left. How do you feel about that? Was it just the right thing because he was here? Was it a lazy, bad hire?
That's a common theme of
United fans?
Was it a step up? Going with a guy that was on the staff.
Yep.
And if you felt that somehow Troy, things were stale, keep someone with a similar philosophy, where are you heading?
I liked Troy. Troy was kind of my
Troy's
favorite thing about that.
Just an amazing person.
Yeah, he was my favorite thing about that franchise. I thought he was all class. I thought he was business. He was class. I loved talking to him on the show. I thought he was terrific. And where's he, with Red Bulls? You saw him in the airport, didn't you, somewhere?
I saw him at a hotel last year.
In Reno?
In San Jose.
San Jose.
It was the final game of the regular season for the UNM women. We were playing San Jose State, walking to the hotel lobby. Troy sitting there. Red Bulls were standing at the hotel.
That's
What's
right.
up?
That's cool. Troy Lesesne was the original head coach of United. All right, so they'll go tonight. We'll have that to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow will be draft day, boys and girls. Woo-hoo! You got NBA tonight. Enjoy the hoopsketball. You got 4 games in playoff basketball, 2 games in hockey. I watched too much of the Kings last night. Ugh. Thanks to Richard Pitino. I know. Thanks to Richard Pitino for being with us.
You really suspended McCarr for that hit? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation we need to have. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On comes your way at 4. Then you get Isotopes at Round Rock. Adrian, great work. A. Marie, great work. Thanks for getting that podcast up so quickly.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Big day for you.
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. We're back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you then.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company. Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.